It's Wednesday the 19th of March, 2025. Welcome to the 120th edition of the Aurea newsletter series. In our series today we shall discuss the cultivation, harvesting, processing, domestic sales, and export of mushrooms in Nigeria. Before we get started, we would like to take a moment to welcome you to this channel. If you are visiting us for the first time, please subscribe, smash the like button, share this video and help us grow our family. If you have already subscribed, then show your support by liking the video and making a comment. Now let's dive in. Opening purview. Mushroom farming in Nigeria has gained attention due to its potential as a profitable and sustainable agricultural venture. This series provides a detailed analysis of the cultivation, harvesting, processing, domestic sales, and export of mushrooms in Nigeria. It explores both antecedent and contemporary methods of mushroom crop cultivation, highlighting the evolution of practices within the Nigerian context. Furthermore, an economic analysis is presented to assess the viability of mushroom farming in Nigeria, focusing on profitability, challenges, and opportunities for farmers. Introduction. Mushroom farming in Nigeria, as part of the broader agricultural sector, plays an important role in the diversification of food production, income generation, and economic development. Despite the increasing demand for edible mushrooms globally and within Nigeria, the industry remains relatively underdeveloped, with untapped potential for both local consumption and export markets. This series seeks to provide an in-depth exploration of the entire mushroom farming value chain, from cultivation and harvesting to processing, marketing, and export. Antecedent methods of mushroom cultivation. Historically, mushroom farming in Nigeria was largely informal, with indigenous cultivation methods used by smallholder farmers. These early methods were largely unregulated and varied depending on geographical regions, climate, and the availability of natural resources. The initial methods focused on the harvesting of wild mushrooms from forests and natural habitats. Such mushrooms were collected seasonally and sold in local markets, but the lack of structured farming and knowledge about the life cycle and growth requirements of mushrooms limited the scale and consistency of production. Traditional cultivation practices involved the use of logs and stumps, which were inoculated with mushroom spores or mycelium. The growing medium was typically derived from natural organic matter, such as wood, straw, and leaves. While these methods produced mushrooms, they were often unreliable and labor-intensive.
Contemporary methods of mushroom cultivation. Modern mushroom cultivation in Nigeria has evolved significantly, with the introduction of scientific techniques, improved substrates, and controlled environments. Contemporary methods now encompass two main types of mushroom farming: indoor, controlled environment, and outdoor, natural environment, farming. Indoor cultivation, controlled environment. This method involves growing mushrooms in specially designed buildings with controlled temperature, humidity, and light conditions. These environments allow for year-round production, which is crucial for consistent supply. The most common substrate used for indoor mushroom farming includes sawdust, rice bran, and other organic materials that provide the necessary nutrients for mycelial growth. Outdoor cultivation, natural environment. This is a less controlled method where mushroom crops are grown outdoors on substrates such as straw, cow dung, or rice husks. Although less reliable and more susceptible to climatic variations, outdoor mushroom farming remains prevalent in rural areas due to its lower initial cost. The use of spores and mycelium inoculation has become more refined, with high-quality spawn being commercially available. Training and research have also led to improved practices in pest and disease management, resulting in better yields and higher quality mushrooms. Common varieties cultivated in Nigeria include Agaricus bisporus, button mushrooms, Pleurotus ostritus, oyster mushrooms, and Lentinula edoda, shiitake mushrooms. Mushroom harvesting. The harvesting process of mushrooms involves the careful picking of mature mushrooms from the substrate. The timing of harvesting is crucial for both quality and marketability. Mushrooms must be harvested when the caps are fully expanded but before the spores are released. In indoor cultivation, mushrooms are often harvested within 3 to 4 weeks after inoculation, while outdoor farms may experience more variation. Manual harvesting. In both indoor and outdoor farming, mushrooms are typically harvested manually. Workers are trained to handle mushrooms gently to avoid bruising and contamination. Post-harvest handling. After harvesting, mushrooms are cleaned and sorted according to size and quality. They are then packed for sale or further processing. Processing of mushrooms. After harvesting, mushrooms can be processed for both domestic and export markets. Processing helps extend the shelf life of mushrooms, which are perishable. Fresh mushrooms. Fresh mushrooms are sold directly to consumers in local markets. They require refrigeration to maintain freshness, which can be a challenge in areas with inadequate cold storage facilities. Dried mushrooms. Dried mushrooms are one of the most common processed products. They have a longer shelf life and can be exported. Drying is done through natural or mechanical methods such as sun drying, oven drying, or freeze drying.
Canned mushrooms. Canning is another processing technique that helps preserve mushrooms for long-term storage and export. The growing demand for processed mushrooms has opened new avenues for value-added products in the Nigerian mushroom industry, especially in urban markets. Domestic sales and marketing of mushrooms. Domestic consumption. The demand for mushrooms in Nigerian cities has been increasing due to changing dietary habits and growing awareness of the health benefits of mushrooms. Mushrooms are valued for their high protein content, low calorie count, and richness in vitamins and minerals. They are used in soups, stews, salads, and other dishes. However, the consumption of mushrooms is still relatively low compared to other agricultural products, largely due to limited awareness and the higher cost of fresh mushrooms. Despite this, urban areas such as Lagos, Abuja, and Port Harcourt exhibit a growing market for mushrooms, particularly among middle and high-income earners. Marketing strategies. Marketing mushrooms in Nigeria involves direct sales through local markets, supermarkets, and restaurants. The promotion of health benefits and culinary versatility is key to increasing demand. Packaging and branding are important for positioning mushrooms as a premium product. Export of mushrooms. Nigeria has the potential to become a significant exporter of mushrooms, particularly dried mushrooms, to international markets. The global demand for edible mushrooms is growing, driven by trends such as vegetarianism, veganism, and health-conscious eating. Export challenges. Quality control. Maintaining consistent quality is essential for export markets, especially in high-value destinations like Europe, the United States, and Asia. Logistics and infrastructure. Limited access to efficient cold storage and transportation facilities can affect the freshness of mushrooms during export. Certification and regulations. Exporters must comply with international standards and certifications such as Global GAP, which require investments in production and processing facilities. Opportunities for export. Nigeria's tropical climate is well suited for mushroom cultivation, offering a competitive advantage for year-round production. Expanding into the global market, particularly for dried mushrooms, represents a lucrative opportunity for Nigerian farmers.
Economic analysis of the viability of mushroom farming in Nigeria. Initial investment and operational costs. The initial capital investment for setting up a mushroom farm in Nigeria is relatively low compared to other agricultural ventures. Key costs include land preparation, purchasing substrates, acquiring spawn, constructing mushroom houses for indoor farming, and purchasing equipment for processing. Startup costs. For small to medium-scale farms, initial costs can range from 300,000 Nigerian nairas to 1 million Nigerian nairas, approximately $500 to $2,000, depending on the scale of production. Operating costs. These include costs for labor, substrate materials, electricity for indoor farms, and water. Operational costs typically account for 30 to 40% of total production costs. Revenue generation and profitability. Mushroom farming is highly profitable due to the relatively short growth cycle, 3 to 4 weeks for most varieties, and the potential for high yields per square meter. A well-managed farm can produce between 5,000 to 10,000 kilograms of mushrooms per hectare per cycle, with profitability margins of 50 to 60%. For instance, a farm producing 5,000 kilograms of mushrooms per cycle, selling at an average price of 1,500 Nigerian nairas per kilogram, could generate 7,500,000 Nigerian nairas in revenue per cycle. With several cycles per year, total revenue could exceed 20 million Nigerian nairas annually. Risks and challenges. Market volatility. Prices can fluctuate depending on supply and demand, particularly in local markets. Climatic factors. In outdoor farming, weather conditions can impact production. Limited knowledge and training. A lack of technical expertise and modern agricultural practices in rural areas can reduce yield potential. Government support and policy. Government policies to support small-scale farmers, such as subsidies, access to credit facilities, and agricultural extension services, are critical to the expansion of mushroom farming. Establishing robust policies and infrastructure for export can further enhance the industry's global competitiveness. Conclusion. Mushroom farming in Nigeria represents a viable and promising agricultural venture with the potential for both domestic and international market success. With proper investment in training, infrastructure, and value-added processing, mushroom cultivation can contribute to food security, job creation, and economic growth. Government support and market development are essential to realize the full potential of mushroom farming in Nigeria, ensuring it becomes a sustainable source of income for many farmers across the country. If you would like to learn more or wish to discuss paid brand sponsorship of any of our agribusiness videos, please contact us on any of the social media handles below. Quote of the week. Nature alone is antique, and the oldest art a mushroom. Thomas Carlyle.